Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, we have a lot of craziness going on in the United States now. Anyway, the school shootings keep adding up. It's just mind-boggling. I just can't believe it. It really is amazing. And why is this happening? If you look at different countries, that's not happening like that. I think this has to do with a lot of the what Carl Jung talked about, that we have a fragmented, disconnected energy from the divine energy of the feminine, and we've gone to the science, we've gone to the numbers, and our connection to love has kind of been severed. And in other countries, they've been teaching, connection to love for a long, long time, and it goes back thousands of years. Back in India, in the Divine Mother Amma, she is a philanthropic person, but she's also a very spiritual person. She's not just a person; she's the divine being. I know that without a doubt. I've seen it with my own eyes, and in their schools, they teach about emotional intelligence. They also teach about dealing with their own emotions. They teach meditation. They teach people how to have a better life, how to work in relationship, how to deal and respect other people. Are we teaching that type of thing to our children? I mean, we may at home, and I applaud you if you are, but a lot of people are not. And I think that's when we're getting into a lot of big, huge challenges. Um, I have to think about my dad and my mom, and they would sit us down and talk to us. And my dad had a lot of wisdom. He was a very interesting, very loving, kind man, but he could be very strong also. And he would say, you're not going to do that. Or he had a lot of wisdom that he expounded upon us, and he wouldn't let us do it. Just sit around and do nothing. You know what I mean? We had a little 5-acre farm, and we had to do something with the animals and be busy. We were an FFA, 4-H, and all those different things. And so we didn't get to sit around. You sat around, you went out to the field with my dad, and you were working there. You were slinging mud. My dad was a rice farmer, so you didn't get to sit around. So we ended up working a lot of the time, and ended up in the field with my dad, and that was a wonderful thing. We also got to be out in nature a lot, which is also healing and peaceful. And I think a lot of times people never even get to be with their parents a lot of times because they're working so much, and it's not the fault of the parents at all because they're trying to make a living. But at the same time, there has to be a balance, and to leave a kid to their own devices, sometimes it doesn't work out too well. There's no doubt about it. I would have been in bad shape and probably wouldn't even be here if I was left to my own devices. But in other places, they're teaching people and adults about how to calm their mind. And that's about meditation, you know what I mean? And for thousands of years, I've been teaching in Buddhism and Hinduism, and even Thomas Merton and Thomas Keaton and different great spiritual teachers of the Christian tradition have been teaching, you know, meditation. And the contemplation, they called it, was talked about in the Bible. It was really very interesting. It's about teaching and allowing ourselves to let go of these things. When we're meditating, may have an emotion come up. And the emotion comes up, we look at that and go, I see that. And we notice that it disappears, you know what I mean? And we have another one come up, and we notice, wow, I notice that's coming and going. And that one disappears. And because these things will come up on a regular basis, and we just note that, wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. But we take our mind too seriously, man. This thing will get us into trouble. Absolutely. And then we just notice that, that's interesting. That's interesting. Go back to the breathing or back to the mantra, and allow ourselves to notice that stuff comes up in our head. And if we take it too seriously and we're kind of sitting out here as a third person watching what's going on, oh, you're breathing, you're breathing, you're breathing. And at the same time, oh, there's a thought. Wow, that's interesting. I'll go back to the breathing. That's Vipassana meditation. Yeah, if you go to other like TM and different things, it's about the mantra, and we go back and forth to the mantra. It's allowing ourselves to focus on something outside of ourselves, which becomes nothing. And then after a while, we become emotionally more aware of ourselves. We don't get emotional like we used to. We don't blow up like we used to. We find ourselves becoming not restrained, but those things just never occur anymore. Maybe once in a great while. In fact, they did studies where they took, monks and people who did lots of meditation or for hours, just general people who would do 2 hours a day of meditation, and they would show them horrific scenes of accidents and different things like that, and they didn't have the emotional response that normal people would have. They still felt bad for what had happened, but they didn't, have the amygdala, the emotional part of their brain going crazy. And because of this, they also have that thickening of their prefrontal cortex. And what, again, is what Jung said, we have disconnected ourselves from the divine feminine aspect of who we are. We are feminine and we are masculine. We connect to science, and science is all well and good, but there is no feelings in that. It is kind of just numbers and dealing with equations and dealing with, physical things, but it doesn't have anything to do with how to deal with life in general. And that's all well and good, but it really doesn't help us to calm the muddy water. The great teachers that we've had come to us, like Mama, Jesus, Ramana, with the lights there, but you can't see him, but Sai Baba, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, all these different people, they've come to teach us many great things about dealing with our emotions, especially. And I think that these people come to us, and there are always usually one or two of them here to help to calm the world in general. All this turmoil was going on around the world, and in order to keep it from blowing itself up, there's this device called a great avatar, and it keeps soaking up and putting out more love, puts out more love, puts out more love, the calming source of the world. And it's kind of like standing around a huge pond. And let's say Amma is on one side of the pond, and there's a whole bunch of people all around the pond, and they got their feet in the water, and everybody's splashing around. The whole pond is totally muddy, except where it's right in front of her, right in front of Mama. It's totally clear because she's not moving. And she nudges one of these people, on each side of her. Quit splashing. And they quit splashing, and a little bit, cleaner on both sides. And then they nudge the people on both sides of them, quit splashing, please. And then it came all the way around, and finally you get to a point where all the mud subsides, and then we have a nice clean pond, and all the emotion lets go. And I think that's really important so that we can allow ourselves to see the daylight of who we really are. When we still the mind, we find out, and when not all these emotions coming and going, there is this undercurrent of who I am. Who's watching those emotions? Who is the watcher? Who am I? Ramana Maharishi would say, who is asking the question? And we ought to ask that question to ourselves. Who's asking that question? Who is watching the emotion? And I think that's a powerful question, and even to do meditation about that. Who is asking the question? And that Divine Mother aspect keeps coming to us over and over and over again, because everybody in the world wants love. There is no doubt about it. We need love in order to survive. You know, if you take a little kids, there was actually studies done, which I don't agree with, but they would take little kids and not touch them at all, little babies, and they would die. And also, yeah, but if they're hugged and loved and cared for, they thrive. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And that everybody needs love. And it was interesting that in Medjugorje, in what used to be Yugoslavia, Divine Mother, or she called herself the Queen of Peace, came to 6 children. And she told her children, there is only one God. She said that she was the mother of everyone, and her children must respect all faiths. All religions are equal before God, and in God there are no divisions whatsoever. All hatred creates divisions, and she told everyone to act with love in the place where they lived. I mean, I think that really kind of spells it out, you know? Whether it be the Divine Mother Amma, whether it be Divine Mother Nature, whether it be Divine, um, you know, Mother of Fatima, the Lady of Fatima, whether it be the Queen of Peace of Medjugorje, they all really came to tell us the same types of things. We're disconnecting from our own motherly aspects of who we are. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of the men, they want to be macho. You know what I mean? I was thinking the other day, this is a guy that driving this huge monster truck. You know what I mean? Boom, boom. And I was going, that's interesting. We ought to remember and be humble about ourselves and allow ourselves to connect with that divine aspect of who we are. We are men and we are women, but at the same time, we have that feminine aspect in every one of us. And I think that a lot of times we have forgotten about that feminine aspect of who we are. And it's about time that we allowed ourselves to move to a higher point of understanding that we are this feminine aspect, and we are to be loving, and we are to be kind, we are to be giving, we ought to be compassionate. You know, I have been working at over a few years now, and first few times very unsuccessfully, uh, bringing the Kundalini energy up my spine. You know, it is very, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody because it can make you sick. It made me sick the first few times, and I wasn't ready. So it kind of puts a fear of God into you. Because you end up with a high blood pressure, you end up with not feeling good. You just don't feel good in general, and so you have to back off and go, hey, this is not my time yet. And we're working on moving that Kundalini energy, what they call at the sacrum of the spine, moving that serpent or the snake or that divine energy moving up through and over the top of the head to the crown chakra. And finally, it's moved up there. And I have the 3 lights above my head. And I was told through divine means that these are knowledge, wisdom, and compassion. And so it was almost instantaneously as that happened, I was able to look at the universe in general and see all the galaxies and see the energy around all these galaxies and how they're all these eddies of energy like a spider web are moving around. And whenever we have these emotions, we actually disrupt this energy, these negative emotions, we disrupt this energy within the whole universe. And energy and emotions are all tied together. Everything is matter, and matter is nothing but energy. And so everything is this energy that is around us. And I was able to see this as clear as day, and it was like, wow, look at that. And I can't wait for the next things to come up and so I can understand what's going on. And so we are this energy, and every time we do things like in World War II, exploding atomic bombs and that type of thing. We disrupt that energy in the universe. So we need to allow ourselves to find the divine feminine inside of us and heal this whole planet so that we can go forward and make changes. I think if we don't start teaching meditation, as some schools are now teaching meditation and TM or Vipassana, and their crime rates and their problems at school drop to almost nothing. And so we really need to start, they call it quiet time. And we need to start teaching that in all our schools, about getting in touch with our emotions, understanding our emotions and connecting to our emotions. And from there, we make better decisions. In fact, there was a little kid that he had a turmoil at home, and instead of confronting and getting angry and jumping up and down, and he just said, "Mom, I'm going to my room." And he said, that wasn't like me a year ago. I would have been crazy. And so he went to his room, calmed down, and did some meditation, in fact, and came back, and they discussed a little more. And in fact, he ended up getting his way. But things changed because he had learned meditation. So the answers lie inside of us, not out there. So if we want to change this world, if we want to change the United States, we have to learn to heal those emotions inside. And we have the answers already. And I know we can do it. Absolutely, positively, there is no doubt about it. And I know for sure that if we spread this word, we can change the world in general. And we can stop possibilities of any kind of war happening, and we can end the constant hatred and move ourselves away from the anger and problems and taking from people, and allow ourselves to have compassion, and everything will change. That's really what it's all about. So I hope you will pray with me that things will change. And allow yourself to learn meditation. You could go to tm.org, or if you can look up a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, Vipassana, Vipassana, free Vipassana meditation retreat. Either one is great, and that'll make a difference in your life, absolutely, positively. And so allow yourself to get a hold of me anytime you like. If you care to subscribe or tell others about my channel, I appreciate that a lot. And well, I'm always here for you on my consultations, either it be herbal or spiritual, or always free. And all my contact information is down below. And you can get me hold of me on Facebook under Dr. Paul Haider, Dr. Paul Haider. And you can message me up above also. And you can text me, you can phone me, you can email me. Email is one of the best ways, because especially if you're asking for herbal questions. And so I'd love to hear from you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. But most of all, remember one thing. Remember, I love you. And if you care to make a little donation, I appreciate that too. I love you.